Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We still have a discount coupon code holidays going on at the current moment, and we've got a 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time question and answer session coming up on Saturday if you can attend. I'm going to run in here, give you my financial opinions on what I'm seeing in the markets today, and let's dive in and see what's going on. So we've got the DXY slightly lower today, but more or less flat, with a pretty big jump yesterday. With yields going higher, they were higher today. We could maybe expect this to go up if yields continue their move higher. So looking at yields, and remember the dollar and yields are very highly correlated. Yields are up 1.15. They look like they're trying to bottom out here and make a move to the upside. So the short end, the 2-year, is doing a reverse move from this strong impulse move lower. It's trying to work its way up in the short term. The 10-year is also doing the same thing. We were up 2.2% today. And it looks like we've broken this little trend line and trying to do a little counter move, little counter rally here. Now, I don't know if we're going to go like this or if we're just going to kind of come on up and then roll back over. We'll see. Again, we'll continue to monitor it and look at this. But right now, it's a counter trend move to the upside. The 30-year is doing the same thing. Counter trend move to the upside. TYX TNX ratio, we were slightly lower today. For the most part, we're kind of squeezing up, and it looks like it wants to go lower, which means that the 10-year could go up more than the 30-year if we come on up, which it did today. Bond prices are down 1.5% as yields were up. Funky looking chart here. Kind of surprising to see yields go up, even though they were kind of signaling a bullish engulfing to go this way. We'll see how this works. A lot of weird stuff going on in the markets right now with some of the charting. And then the US 2-year, 10-year, it's coming on down where the 10-year went up more than the 2-year. The yield curve uninverted to some degree with the long end of the curve coming up. That's that bear steepener that we haven't seen in history all that much. Gold is up. So we had stronger yields and just slightly lower dollar, but gold is holding steady today, up $8. But still, to me, it looks like we've got momentum to the downside with stronger selling pressure, a weak move higher, and potential stronger move to the downside. Silver, we've got a couple of strong selling pressure movements, not much of a bounce here up against resistance, and we rolled on over. Momentum still to the downside, unfortunately, for silver at this time. And I know some people were talking about a potential trend line here that we are at currently. Platinum down 2%. We're still above the breakout of this squeezing here, and we'll see where that goes. If yields continue higher and dollar strengthens, we could see further downside. Palladium also looking like it wants to do a full retest here, and there's the upper trend line to potentially do that full retest down here at maybe 1,015 or so. XAU to gold ratio, we are slightly higher today, 0.12, but we still haven't broken that all-important trend line that I think everyone wants us to break right there. So yeah, we were down over the last week or two, and we haven't reversed that momentum yet. CRB index moving sideways, still looks good to go higher if it wants to give it a shot. And the reason I say that is you've got big buying pressure, small selling pressure here with the bullish engulfing there. That generally works its way on up, but we have not seen that in crude oil yet. CRB to S&P working its way on up because the S&P was down more than the CRB index. And to me, this looks like it wants to try to go higher in the short term here. There's the reversal candlestick potential. GDX slightly higher, but for the most part sideways at support. GDXJ, it's the same thing. We're at these support levels and we could cut through them, but it looks like it's trying to attempt to work its way around. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like over the next few trading days. SILJ is doing the same thing. It looks like it's trying to turn right at support of that trend line. Crude oil down 0.43%. We were up earlier in the morning, and we're just cruising around this trend line here. The white trend line is the trend line in the short term here, where we got a little double bottom. We came up above it. Now we're kind of flailing back and forth as we go. This is a bullish setup here where we could go higher in the short term. But again, short-term market movements are not generally as predictable. This is on a 1-hour chart. You can see we've got kind of something going on there. But the 1-hour chart, usually on these really short-term charts, I don't trade the short term, but it's right around that support level going across here in the short term. This white one there. We've got TTF gas up 3.2% or so. And it does look like we're trying to bust through some sort of downtrend line, perhaps, depending on how you draw this thing. It looks like it's trying to break through. And we've got natural gas in America up 6.6%. It's ripping it. And we've got resistance that we're breaking back through. This horizontal resistance, we're punching back through it. So, are we going to get a stage a little bit of a rally in natural gas here? Kind of looks like it. Momentum's to the upside. We do have a bullish engulfing here, which generally indicates that we want to go higher and not much selling pressure there after it. XOP, and I know some of you guys always want me to say, yeah, you know me. Other people don't want me to say it. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Right now, in the short term, this looks like we could go lower. It is a bearish engulfing. It's this candlestick there that's engulfing the ones before it, shadowing that and projecting a move lower in the short term. Even though crude oil looks like it's trying to put together something, we put kind of a bearish candlestick on today. Longer term, we've got this inverted head and shoulders that looks beautiful, which is projecting a move way higher to the upside. So different time frames, I'm bullish long term. Short term, I'm bearish in the very, very short term over maybe the next few days, week. OIH is also throwing a bearish candlestick today, where we could pull back further in the very short term. We've got a bullish setup there, which then is now combined with a bearish little short-term pullback with that. So we'll see what it looks like. We're on the bullish side on the lower end of this channel, which has always been a good spot to be looking at, be buying. And are we going to punch back through this? We'll see. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we're up 1.42%. Doesn't look bad. Again, we've got some weird patterns going on. This is a rising wedge, which generally is bearish. The projected price move is generally the size of this. So if I were to just kind of line it up like this, you get a projected downward move of that. Is this a false breakout where we move on higher? Because we've got some pretty good, we have a pretty good candlestick today. And we'll see. I'm not the game to make predictions here, but statistically, this would want to fall because your buyers equaling the sellers gets us into a corner and it kind of slows down and then it usually falls and rolls on over. But we're still throwing some good candlesticks here, so we'll see if we can reverse this to the upside. URA still getting some buying power. That is a bullish engulfing that looks like it wants to go higher in the short term. URNM also throwing in a pretty bullish candlestick along with URNJ. They're all bullish engulfings, which generally work their way higher. There's one there too. TAN down 2.6% back to the support level. There we are long term, right at support. We've got COPX barely lower, 0.22%. It looks like we're trying to do something here, like turn around and try to base out perhaps before trying to turn around. This is what it looks like on the short term. You can kind of see that we've got a downward trend line broken and it's just moving sideways. And that's what I mean by trying to turn around here. We've got lithium down 1.56%. We kind of, I don't know, we got rejected here right up against resistance pulling on back, but this is a pretty strong base with a bunch of bullish engulfings. And we've broken the downtrend line. So kind of came up, maybe we pull back and I'm looking for a potential bottom somewhere here. If we don't get a bottom, you'll see an acceleration of large red candlesticks if it's not going to bottom there. If it doesn't. REMX down to hit its head on that resistance line just like lithium did. And we're pulling on back. S&P 500 still continuing to pull back. They're not huge down candlesticks though. So there's not a ton of force behind it. NASDAQ also pulling on back, but not a ton of force behind it. These candlesticks are very small. We very well even could try to turn here, depending on what candlesticks we get over the next few days. But we have to see that. KRE still above support. There's that support level and not much of a sell-off, so I still think this will eventually work its way on up. Emerging markets down a little bit, down 0.33%, right at support. We've got XHB, which is down a little bit. All of these pulling back, I think, are generally related to higher yields. So yields moving up has turned this thing to go lower for XHB, KRE, S&P 500, NASDAQ. I mean, we could just look at yields and you could probably project roughly where a lot of these things are going. Not with a high degree of accuracy, but with a very good degree of accuracy. MU also heading a little bit lower, right up against that resistance line up here. You can see that we're trying to punch through if it can. Copper down a little bit, 0.4% roughly. It still looks good to go higher because we've broken out of the pattern to the upside. Iron ore is down a little bit more, no reversal candlesticks, so I remain bullish on iron ore to the upside, just working and grinding its way on up. We've got aluminum down 0.96 or 1%. We're coming and doing that retest thing. So we have a bunch of support right where we're at. We've broken out, doing a retest, and we'll see if we can get that bounce that we normally get to the upside. Baltic Dry Index slightly lower, 0.1%, but it looks to me like this is going to try to turn eventually. Newcastle coal up 1.73%. I actually like this location for coal. You've got the big pullback, and it's kind of basing out down here. And there might be some more basing that it does going sideways for a while longer before going, because this is a lot of momentum that we've got to work off. Bitcoin up 3.3% roughly. So that's looking solid. It's like breaking back out. And then Ethereum is also looking pretty good today, 3.23%, right at resistance. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Kind of a tough read here in the short term. We had rates coming on down. We've broken that downtrend. Now they're starting to trend up, and we're starting to see a lot of these assets behave differently now that interest rates are going up. One thing that has me surprised is usually when interest rates go up, usually oil's going up with it. This is not usually before a market crash or a recession. Interest rates don't go up. They generally go down, and you see the 2-year dive bomb down. So we're seeing strength in yields. We're seeing, I think, is potential strength in crude oil if it can bottom here. We're seeing strength in natural gas. Uranium's hanging in there, but we're up at a rising wedge, kind of squeezing up at the top there. Newcastle coal's basing out. We've got a lot of other commodities that have broken patterns to the upside. So they're still positive, and they still look good to go higher. But in the short term, we are seeing a little bit of selling pressure across the board. So that's what I've got for today, guys. If you guys are part of the community, we'll catch you, I'll catch you Saturday at 7 a.m. Not tomorrow, but Saturday. I keep thinking, Saturday is tomorrow, but it's not. So that's all I've got. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.